All right, here we go. This is my very first YouTube video of my very first YouTube channel. And yeah, yay to me for finally doing this. I hope this ends up being my most awkward video, so once I have hundreds of videos up, you can come here to see yours truly at his most unnatural. But yeah, as a newbie booktuber noob, this is my newbie Booktube Tag Intro video. So I'm here to discuss all things fiction, as you may be able to see behind me here, reading, all things books. Maybe I'll get into a couple other genres. We'll see. We shall see. Let's just get into it. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Honest answer here is I love reading. And I mean, I used to work at a bookstore for a couple of years, but it's been a while and I just miss that camaraderie of being able to interact with a group of like-minded readers. That did a lot for me as a person. I love talking about books and meeting new people who also love reading. I really want to be in community again with other awesome people like yourselves, readers who love books, and share my thoughts, hear what you have to say. Would love to connect. Feel free to leave a comment down below, say hi if you feel like. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Okay, so question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? For starters, perhaps here is a couple of titles that I hope to be covering in my first few videos here. Just a little bit of taste of what you're going to see with me. I will be doing a couple of book review videos. For example, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite book of 2022 and explain why you should be reading it too if you haven't already. Spoiler alert, it is this incredible novel by Gabrielle Zevin, and honestly, just a work of art. Yeah, so can't wait to get into this. Stay tuned for that. I love that these Stormlight books just like are bricks and they just stand up on their own. You don't even need to like have anything in between there. A little bit more uniquely though, I would like to do somewhat more informative content where, for example, I nerd out on all the video games referenced in like the book that I just showed, for example, or all the Shakespeare references in another book that I'm reading, especially since I was a theater major in college and just love talking about all of that stuff. You might also see some year in review challenge videos, TBR, DNF, DGAF, no, just kidding. But you know, I'm just saying, you know, maybe some other stuff in there to spice it up a little bit, mix it up, maybe some book events, who knows? We'll go where the inspiration leads us. Okay, question number 3. What are you most excited about for this new channel? Well, I don't have many friends that are big readers, so I'm really looking forward to that, being able to talk about all this stuff, engage with all of you, hear your thoughts. Really, I mean, that gets to the point of it. Really, it is my genuine hope, though, that in the coming months and years, that I am able to share what I'm reading, what I'm liking out there, and engage with you all, chat about what you're reading, and get your thoughts on what I'm bringing to the table, or bookshelf, I guess. I'm also excited to get some quality recommendations from you guys on what you think I might like after you get a little taste of what I talk about here. And yeah, would love to hear that, because currently my Goodreads is a little, I guess I'll say, off-brand for what I enjoy. I don't know how to say. Yeah, help me branch out there as well. I'll include my link to my Goodreads, so please connect with me there too. Okay, moving along. Question number 4. What kind of books do you like to read? Well, my favorite genre is literary fiction / contemporary fiction, but only the best, most highly acclaimed stuff. I don't like all of it, so I'll try to pass along only the best recommendations of literary fiction to you guys as well. I do read a bit of fantasy, not a ton. As you can probably see, the Sanderson books on the shelf behind me here that I've just been getting into over the past couple months. Stormlight Archive's great, but yeah, I guess it's not a true Sander shelf, half a shelf, I guess. I like that better than Mistborn, but anyways. I also love graphic novels. Usually get those from the library, though. I do read a little bit of nonfiction because why not? And what else? Also poetry. I do love some poetry now and then. You gotta keep that in the mix, of course. Maybe I'll do some videos on my favorite poetry now and then, or like what I have down here on the bottom shelf. What's out of frame a little bit. You can see my other stuff that I'm not featuring, but yeah. Okay, question 5. Why do you love reading? Well, ever since I was a kid, it has been my greatest love. Probably my most enjoyed hobby that I've put more time into than any other. Like my most time committed hobby, for sure, in my whole life. I don't know. Why do I love it? I guess it's probably the same for me as it is for a lot of you, that books are just the greatest way to be able to expand your horizons and tap into new worlds and perspectives outside your own, think new thoughts, and just read cool stories that wouldn't otherwise pop into your head, you know? Of course, I love video games and TV and film too, but reading just has a way of transporting you wholly as you're going line by line through the text, immersing yourself in it. I mean, you know what I mean, right? Like, if you know, you know. Yeah, it's reading. Yeah, I guess by, like, connecting an author's perspective to your own internal reading of those words, it's such a special experience, right? But like I said, I also read nonfiction because, you know, learning is the best, and I like to consider myself a lifelong learner, because that is, of course, a good thing. And also, with some of the fantasy I read, there is the escapism component, because my full-time job work is kind of boring, let's be honest. Work is work, and there's nothing wrong with a little escapism now and then. Having your imagination stimulated is fine and good, and that is a legit reason for reading. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. Question 6. When did you start reading? I started reading voraciously before I even started kindergarten, and I'm not trying to brag or anything by saying that, but I consider it one of the greatest gifts that my mom ever gave me when I was like 3 or 4 as a toddler, you know, just being able to have that throughout the rest of my life has made my life what it is today. And now I have a little one on the way, so I want to be sure that that is a gift that I also impart to the next generation too. Yeah. Question number 7. What book or series got you into reading? Ooh, this is a tougher question. I mean, I remember when I was young, my parents got me these little square, like, they weren't large, they were just small little children's abbreviated versions of the classics, and I think they got me like 30 of those, and I just went through them, like, Great Expectation, and like, it wasn't Great Expectation, they're like children's abbreviated versions, but Robinson Crusoe and Treasure Island and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like all of like the old classics, you know. So yeah, that might have might be it. I loved the Chronicles of Narnia too when I was a kid. I have that somewhere here. Yeah, like here's my old copy, like with the 80s, 70s kind of. Yeah, loved these books. What else? There was Wrinkle in Time. I remember reading The Giver when I was young. From the mixed up files of Basil E. Frankweiler, I think it's called. Loved that. Honestly, I was a huge nerd when I was a kid. Maybe you can tell. But I don't know, really. I mean, when summer came around, it was all about swimming at the community pool and the library summer reading program. And yeah, like put your hands up if that was you too. I remember during those summer reading program, I would like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 or so, like read these little non-fiction books that the library had a ton of that were, I guess call me a weirdo for getting into nonfiction at 7 years old, but they were about like different countries and cultures and ancient civilizations and just kind of like different like children's primers on, you know, things that growing up in a small farm town in Michigan were expanding my horizons. And I just loved reading about it because it was real. This actually is real world. You know, like sometimes the truth can be more incredible than fiction. I don't know. Yeah. As a preteen, I loved reading Animorphs, read all of those probably, and Star Wars novels. I distinctly remember reading the Han Solo trilogy and Shadows of the Empire. Shout out like leave a comment if you read those too, if that's you. Really though, I've read a lot of different stuff over the years, and like a lot of people, you know, once you're in junior high, high school, college, grad school, the required reading takes up a lot of your time and mental space, and it definitely did for me too. But that helped me discover my love for Shakespeare and classical and contemporary playwrights that I was reading for my education, because I was an acting major for my undergrad, so naturally I read a lot of plays. And over those years, I don't know, at a certain point I felt like I was in a reading dry spell, like a reading slump, even though I was reading all of these plays in college. I think what reawakened my love of reading, though, for my own self and my own purposes, at 21 years old, I was reading through all of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, the magnum opus of the graphic novel genre, and I was getting those from the Kalamazoo Public Library, but at the same time, I was working at a bookstore and grabbed Gaiman's American Gods off the shelf. And just one day after reading that, fell back in love with the whole prose fiction world. I mean, I know I would call it fantasy or kind of mythology a little bit, and read a bunch of his other novels and his and Murakami's short story collections, which I also kind of just got into a big like short story spurt at that point in time. Yeah. But I guess that's kind of a good intro, I guess, for me. Okay, we're getting toward the end here. Question number 8. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Great question here. I do have a couple favorite booktubers, like the Book Leo, Jesse the Reader, and Bookborn. Shout out, by the way, for answering a few of my initial questions on Reddit when I was trying to get going and get this started. Really appreciated that. I also like Petrick Leo for fantasy, Library of the Viking, Andrew Watson, all good. Tall Guy Reads is pretty good too. I could go on, but my questions would be, and this is something I'm grappling with a little bit right now, how did you figure out the right mix of content for your channel? Beyond that, how do you bridge the gap from the Booktube digital space to real-world meetup events, or would you even recommend that? And then the third question I would have here is also, what did you do to achieve balance between reading, working, and booktubing? Question number 9. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Probably the editing for me. Yeah, for sure. Reading? Easy. Shooting? I mean, effort, but it's not a huge ask. Editing and production, though, that's new. That is a challenge. Yeah. I hope to get better with time. Also, I don't have a ton of money to spend on book consumerism, and my time is limited with a full-time job too, so balancing my overall resources could be a challenge. But I suppose that's another reason that I'm actually starting this channel too, to fuel my passion for reading by getting excited about this new project and building community here. All right, starting to wrap this up. Question 10, where do you read? Better to just show you, I suppose. So here, with my little Luna curled up beside me. Say hi, Luna! Here, when I'm driving and doing audiobooks. And here. That's about it. I don't know why I waited this long to start a YouTube channel, but I'm here now. You've got me. So let me know if anything on these shelves has you excited. If you can see much of it. It looks like it's a little blurry in my viewfinder here, but yeah, I'll figure that stuff out in time too. Let me know what type of particular fiction you enjoy, if you have kind of a favorite subgenre, you're a huge speculative fiction nerd, or historical, you know. Beyond that, yeah, welcome to my little comfy book corner here. Subscribe if you feel like it, and if you do, you'll see more of me soon. And however you made it here and found me, thank you for watching this video. More soon to come.